welcome. You're watching Republic TV. On this edition of This Is Exclusive, we're getting you a political scoop from West Bengal. The India Alliance war is only getting bigger, with the left hitting out at the TMC. We have an exclusive response from the TMC on this entire controversy. First up, let's have a quick check of the headlines.
कांग्रेस वाले मेरे पर बौखलाए हुए हैं कि मोदी ये क्यों कर रहा है। दिन रात वो मोदी को गाली पे गाली दे रहे हैं। कल तो कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष महोदय मेरे पिताजी पर भी टूट पड़े। बताइए, उनका स्वर्गवास हुए 40 साल हो गए, उनको गाली दे रहे हैं।
Gives it back to Congress chief for dragging in father in election campaign. All-out war in India Alliance as left warns Congress on TMC by talking about alleged betrayal in 2011. Yogi government deliberates on massive crackdown on halal certification racket in Uttar Pradesh. On 7th day of operations in Uttarkashi, technical snag halts mission. PM officials take stock. Congress MP justifies Hamas, declares that they stand with Hamas terrorists. Saudi Arabia gives a strong message: do not make religious sites ground for political message. The India Alliance partners seem to be at war once again. In the latest development, it is the CPM that has now hit out at the TMC in West Bengal, saying that Mamata Banerjee tried to kick out Congress in 2011. The left has further added that Congress has learnt its lesson on TMC. Let's listen in to what left leader said.
অভিষেক ব্যানার্জি স্পেশাল প্লেন নিয়ে রাহুল গান্ধীর ঘরে চলে গেলেন ভোরে। আমরা যখন বলছি চোর ধরো জেল ভরো, চোর তখন গিয়ে বলছে কংগ্রেসের পায়ে পড়ে, দাদা আমাকে বাঁচাও। কিন্তু কংগ্রেস দলকে বুঝতে হবে, 2011-তে কংগ্রেস দল তৃণমূলকে যদি সমর্থন না করত, মমতা ব্যানার্জির হিম্মত ছিল না রাইটার্স বিল্ডিং এ পৌঁছানোর। কিন্তু যে কংগ্রেসের মাথায় উঠে তিনি সরকারের মন্ত্রী হলেন, মন্ত্রী হওয়ার 6 মাসের মধ্যে দাঁড়িয়ে সেই কংগ্রেসকে লাথি মারার চেষ্টা করলেন। কেউ দেখে শেখে, কেউ থেকে শেখে, বাংলার কংগ্রেস এটা বুঝেছে।
And we have a response coming in from the Trinamool Congress. It is the top leader of the Trinamool Congress, that is Firhad Hakim, who is also a minister in the Mamata government, who has hit out at the left and has in fact called left leader Mir Jafar, accusing the left of trying to weaken the INDI alliance. Let's listen in to what Firhad Hakim has said.
অভিষেক ব্যানার্জি রাহুলের সাথে দেখা করুক, আর যার সাথেই দেখা ওনার মাথা ব্যথা হচ্ছে কেন? উনি কি ইন্ডিয়া ভাঙার চক্রান্তে জড়িত হয়ে পড়ছেন? এখানে যেহেতু ইন্ডিয়া শক্তিশালী হয়ে যাচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে, তাই সেটাতে ভাঙার জন্য মির্জাফরের কাজ করার চেষ্টা করছেন।
We will have a reporter from a Republic Bangla team joining us on the phone line to give us more details about this breaking news coming in. TMC is alleging a left plot to weaken the INDI alliance. The war in INDI alliance taking a fresh turn, in fact escalating. Earlier we also had Samajwadi Party hitting out at the Congress. Now we have a war between the TMC and the left in West Bengal as well. There have been no recent meetings of the INDI alliance as well, raising questions on what the agenda of the alliance could be amid this political turmoil week after week in the INDI alliance. We have Kishalai joining us on the phone line. Kishalai, we had a response coming in from Mamata Minister Firhad Hakim, who's accusing the left of trying to weaken the INDI alliance. What is it that you're gathering as far as this war in INDI alliance is concerned in Bengal?
Well, exactly, Sanika, it all began yesterday in the evening when Mohammad Selim, CPIM leader, he spoke openly against the fact that Trinamool Congress will be given a place in the INDI alliance and that Congress is coming close to Trinamool Congress. He openly said Abhishek Banerjee and Rahul Gandhi are doing some kind of meeting secretly that they do not know about. After that political turmoil all over Bengal, we have got exclusive responses, exclusive reactions from several leaders, including Firad Hakim's TMC minister and Mayor of Kolkata. He has openly said that Mohammed Salim is trying to break the INDIA alliance, and what he's trying to do is push out Trinamool Congress out of this alliance. But on the other hand, even Congress, when Mohammed Salim was saying this, he was standing in the stronghold of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who is a stalwart Congress leader here in Bengal as well as in the national arena. So he was very close to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's house. He was openly saying that Congress has to decide whether it wants to go with Trinamool Congress or it wants to go with the other INDIA alliance parties, including the left. After that, Trinamool Congress has spoken several times against this statement by Mohammed Salim. So it is very evident that cracks in the INDI alliance is in open now, and we have to see what turns out next. Sanika.
Thank you very much, Kishalai, for joining us on the phone line. In fact, once again, let's listen in to the sound bite that has come in from Mamata Minister Firad Hakim accusing the left of trying to break the India alliance.
শেখ ব্যানার্জি রাহুলের সাথে দেখা করুক আর যার সাথেই দেখা করুক, ওনার মাথা ব্যথা হচ্ছে কেন? উনি কি ইন্ডিয়া ভাঙার চক্রান্তে জড়িত হয়ে পড়ছেন? এখানে যেহেতু ইন্ডিয়া শক্তিশালী হয়ে যাচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে, তাই সেটাতে ভাঙার জন্য মির্জাফরের কাজ করার চেষ্টা করছেন। অভিষেক ব্যানার্জি রাহুলের সাথে দেখা করুক আর যার সাথেই দেখা করুক, ওনার মাথা ব্যথা হচ্ছে কেন? উনি কি ইন্ডিয়া ভাঙার চক্রান্তে জড়িত হয়ে পড়ছেন? এখানে যেহেতু ইন্ডিয়া শক্তিশালী হয়ে যাচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে, তাই সেটাতে ভাঙার জন্য মির্জাফরের কাজ করার চেষ্টা করছেন।
Now, Congress is also responding to this entire controversy. We have a response coming in from Congress MP Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and by the looks of it, it seems that Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary too seems to be taking a swipe at the TMC. Let's listen into what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said.
না বলে যারা বলছে তাদেরকে জ্ঞান অর্জন করতে তাহলেই হবে। আমরা যা বুঝার বুঝেছি। আমরা পা ধরছে মানে কি করা যাবে? রাহুল গান্ধীর কাছে কেউ যদি পা ধরতে যায়, রাহুল গান্ধী বলবে আমরা একটা ঢুকো না, আমরা সেটা করতে পারি না। আমাদের না বলে যারা বলছে তাদেরকে জ্ঞান অর্জন করতে তাহলেই হবে। আমরা যা বুঝার বুঝেছি। আমরা পা ধরছে মানে কি করা যাবে? রাহুল গান্ধীর কাছে কেউ যদি পা ধরতে যায়, রাহুল গান্ধী বলবে আমরা একটা ঢুকো না, আমরা সেটা করতে পারি না।
We also have a BJP response to this entire controversy. BJP saying, how will the opposition work for the people if there continues to be infighting amongst the alliance partners? Let's listen into what BJP leaders have to say.
দেখুন, এই তো ওদের সোকল INDI অ্যালায়েন্সের বিষয়। তারা কে কাকে সমর্থন করবে, কে কাকে ফিশ ফ্রাই খাওয়াবে, কে কাকে চপ খাওয়াবে, তাদের ব্যাপার। ওর মধ্যে আমরা নেই। যেই যাক, যেখানেই যাক, জেল যাত্রা বাঁচাতে পারবে না। জেলে আলটিমেটলি যেতেই হবে। আর বিজেপি সরকার পশ্চিমবঙ্গে আসবে। মোহাম্মদ সেলিম, হালিম, কেলিম কিছু হবে না। দেখুন, এই তো ওদের সোকল INDI অ্যালায়েন্সের বিষয়। তারা কে কাকে সমর্থন করবে, কে কাকে ফিশ ফ্রাই খাওয়াবে, কে কাকে চপ খাওয়াবে, তাদের ব্যাপার। ওর মধ্যে আমরা নেই। যেই যাক, যেখানেই যাক, জেল যাত্রা বাঁচাতে পারবে না। জেলে আলটিমেটলি যেতেই হবে। আর বিজেপি সরকার পশ্চিমবঙ্গে আসবে। মোহাম্মদ সেলিম, হালিম, কেলিম কিছু হবে না।
Moving on to the other big story that we are tracking on this is exclusive. As Israel continues a ground offensive in Gaza, flattening Hamas terror infrastructure, there is a loud cry from Iran-led lobby to isolate Israel. But one Arab nation that has kept the balance in this war is Saudi Arabia. After in fact, blocking anti-Israel measures at Arab summit, Saudi Arabia has reportedly taken another progressive measure, sending out a message that religion and politics should not be merged. As per reports, in fact, there are multiple testimonies that state that prayers for Gaza were not allowed in Makkah, Medina. Those who who were seen praying for Gaza or carrying Palestinian symbols at the holy site were detained by Saudi agencies. One such testimony is from a British actor who was allegedly detained for carrying Palestinian keffiyeh and Palestinian flag-coloured tasbih. For more perspective on this, in fact, we will be joined by Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of ORF. He will be joining us on the broadcast. He will be joining us shortly right now. But just to give perspective to our viewers on what this entire controversy is, a British national, a British actor in fact, was detained at Makkah Medina for allegedly showing solidarity for Gaza and praying for Palestine at the holy sites of Mecca and Medina. In fact, he's put out an Instagram post where he said that he was on a religious pilgrimage with his family in Mecca. He said he was detained by soldiers for wearing a Palestinian keffiyeh. His name is Isla Abdul Rahman, who has said that he was carrying a Palestinian keffiyeh and a tasbih, which was in the colors of Palestinian flag. He was stopped by 4 soldiers and then taken into a sort of a detention center, which was an off-site location, where it was pointed out that there was sort of an objection to the symbols he'd carried on at Makkah Medina. We have Sushant Sareen joining us right now. Sushant Sareen, we've seen these, in fact, since the beginning of the war, we've seen sort of a fragmented Muslim world when it comes to Israel. And now with Mohammed bin Salman sending out a modernist message when it comes to when it comes to prayers that were held for Gaza at Makkah and Medina. Do you think it is a modernist message that Mohammed bin Salman is saying by saying that you cannot mix politics with religion?
Yeah, but see, number one, this is not a new message, and this is not just limited to the conflict in Gaza. In fact, the Saudis have always discouraged any kind of political demonstrations in the 2 holy mosques. In fact, a couple of years back, I think last year, in fact, there were some Pakistanis who had tried to carry out some demonstrations in Mecca, and they were arrested. They were administered long prison sentences. Some of them were deported back. So the Saudis have been very strict on, this business of using this, the holy mosques for political purposes, and this goes back again. You can go back to 1979 when some Islamic radicals had taken over the holy mosque in Mecca, and so the Saudis are very shari, number one. But I think the larger point which you make in your initial report is absolutely on target. There is a division within the Islamic world. Some who are vying for influence of the Islamic public opinion against Israel, and notable in that are Iran, which is backing Hamas and many of the other terror groups, and of course Turkey, which is trying to, in a manner of speaking, the old man wants to become a new caliph. I'm talking about Erdogan. And then there is the Arab world, in which the UAE and Saudi Arabia are taking a lead. Which number one, do not want to cede any space to both these countries, Iran and Turkey, but are also not interested in backing terror organizations like Hamas. And their reasons for that are, one, that they have an aversion to groups like Hamas, which can also rebound upon them. Because the origins of Hamas comes from the Muslim Brotherhood, and there is an anti-monarchy or an the kind of system which operates in many Arab states. They are averse to that. So I think one is that reason. And the other reason is a much more modernistic reason, which is that they want to pull their countries out. The UAE has managed it to a large extent. And I think MBS is making revolutionary changes in Saudi Arabia to keep Saudi Arabia marching in step with the 21st century. The oil economics is going to last for another maybe 20 years, 25 years. It's changing very, very fast. The domination of oil in the international market is also going down. And I think MBS is looking at the future rather than harking for the past. And what he wants to do is he wants to take his country into the 21st century very, very fast, which is why you see sweeping changes he's making. Now, if he is going to give in to this atavistic kind of sentiment which is developing in the Islamic world, much of it based on misinformation and disinformation by countries like Qatar and countries like Iran, and social media handles and the vokes in the Western world, in Western universities. If you want to avoid all of that, then you have to move forward and ensure that there is some kind of peace in the Middle East, that there is some kind of a political settlement, which is what the Saudis were also working towards. It's not that they've given up the Palestinian cause, but they don't think that Hamas or the Iranian way of going about solving the Palestinian issue is the way to go. They also do not believe and do not subscribe to this, from the river to the sea kind of slogans, which is to eradicate Israel. So they would want a mutually beneficial relationship with Israel. They would want cooperation with Israel. And which is why you saw that even though Saudi Arabia and Israel do not have direct diplomatic relations, the Saudis, were very keen to sign on to the IMEC corridor project. So a lot of forward movement had been made until, the events of October 7th, the terror attacks by Hamas on Israel, kind of stalled that progress. Otherwise, who knows, by now, Saudi Arabia and Israel might even have established diplomatic relations. So I think there are multiple issues which are at play, and anybody who's going to try and use the holy mosques for political grandstanding, I think the Saudi law is going to come crashing down on them like a ton of bricks.
So Shanzreen, you're an expert in strategic affairs. So that brings me to my next question. Now we've seen Saudi blocking bids to isolate Israel. How do you think, and what do you think would Saudi Arabia's role be in bringing a balance in this entire Middle East war? Do you think Saudi Arabia could play a key role in sort of peace talks or any initiatives that are to be taken as far as this war is concerned?
Yeah, but I think the Saudis will play it on the silent. I think what they will try and do is they will stall and they will block any extreme measures which some of the other Islamic countries like Pakistan, like Iran, and some of these others are suggesting. I think they will try and block all of that. At the same time, they will not give up on diplomacy. They will want that once the kinetics of this operation kind of come down and things start stabilizing, I think that is the time when the real diplomatic initiatives will start. The Saudis were already trying to do it, as I said earlier. They were actually leveraging recognition and diplomatic relations with Israel on the basis of pushing for some kind of a two-state solution. Part of the problem in the two-state solution has been that even when a very good deal has been offered and has been on the table, the Palestinians have been extremely myopic and rejected that deal. So I think the Saudis will have a very critical role to play, partly because the Saudis do hold a kind of a leadership position in the Islamic world. They would certainly not want to cede that space to any other country, least of all to Iran, with whom they have historic, sectarian and ethnic and all kinds of other differences, and differences which go back thousands of years. They would certainly not like to cede space to Turkey, which many of the people in the Arab world see as interlopers trying to become the new caliphs all over again. So I don't think they have any love lost for the Turks also. Yeah. So they would want to cede the leadership of the Islamic world, which means that they will continue to take a leadership position in whatever diplomatic solutions have to be worked out as far as the Palestinian issue is concerned. They will have to knock heads together. They will have to try and even make the Israelis climb down once they have achieved what they are setting out to achieve. So I think the Saudis' role will be very critical, and don't forget the role of the UAE. I think the UAE also will be playing a very, very critical role, and there will be certain other Islamic countries or Arab countries which will also have to play a very important role. Yes. Egypt for one, Jordan, even Oman for that matter. So there are a number of countries which will come into play, but many of these countries also in a sense, look towards Saudi Arabia to take the lead,
Yes.
to take the leadership position, and that is not likely to go away anytime soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sushant Sareen, for joining us on this broadcast and giving an entire perspective on this news coming in, on how Saudi is trying to take a position in the entire war. We have more news coming in for now. Thank you very much, Mr. Sareen, for joining us. Breaking news coming in connection with the World Cup.
बट मुझे पता है कि टीम को मेरी ज़रूरत जहां पर है उस चीज़ पर मेरे को ध्यान देना है और बाकी जो भी चीज़ है उसको थोड़ी देर के लिए मैं साइड में रखना चाहूँगा.
Rohit, you have been phenomenal as a batsman as well as a captain. Just wanted to know what has been the role of the coach Rahul Dravid, who has largely stayed in the background, very understated. What has been his role in the leadership?
No, his role has been absolutely massive in terms of getting that clarity, which I keep talking about. There's one thing for me to think about, and the other thing for coach to not agree to certain things. Clearly, looking at how Rahul Bhai himself has played his cricket, and how I am playing these days. Obviously, it's quite.
So that's the Indian skipper Rohit Sharma addressing a pre-match briefing. The big World Cup final tomorrow with Australia. Rohit Sharma very clearly said that we prepared for this day much before. We played in the T20 World Cup and WTC final, or in all three formats we wanted to choose the right players. We have been doing this for the past 2.5 years. We gave everyone a role clarity. This has helped us a lot. All this has helped us so far, and hopefully we will do in the final too. The audio is back on that press briefing. Let's listen in.
Also, the way he stood by the players in difficult times, where during the T20 World Cup, we had a good run up until that semi-final and we lost, and how he reacted to certain situations and informing the players.
How you inform the players?
Yeah, inform the players about, this is what we are looking at, and all of that, says a lot about him as well. And obviously, what he has done for Indian cricket is massive, and he also feels that he wants to be part of this big occasion, and it's for us to do it for him.
Thank you.
Rohit, I just want to know, while talking about players and helping them and them knowing there's clarity of roles, etc., can you talk a little bit, I know it's oft repeated, but about Shami, and how did you kind of handle him in trying to overcome the issues that he was having?
Issues?
Maybe it was injury, or maybe...
No, I mean, yeah, see, like for him it was it was tough for him to not play the initial part of the World Cup. Looking at him being one of the senior bowler for us, but he was there for the team. He was there to help Siraj, he was there to help Bumrah in whatever ways he could. And that shows the quality of him, being the team man that he is. And it was very clear. We had a chat with him about, why he missed out and everything. And then obviously on the sidelines, he was working on his bowling. And then, I mean, the results are there for everyone to see how he has come back from that. That shows, the kind of mental space that Shami was before the World Cup and even now. It's not easy not being part of the team and then come out and do the job that in the way that he has done for us. Says a lot about him, but like when you're playing a team sport, people do understand why X, Y, Z have to miss out on certain occasions, because there's a lot that goes into getting your player, getting your 11 right. That depends everything, on your conditions, the opposition and the balance that you want to create. It was.
We're heading into a break right now. After the break, we'll get you details of Uttar Pradesh government's crackdown on alleged halal racket.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Eat it on time and please ride the bike slowly.
Okay.
And this is for your safety.
Arey, I almost forgot.
LIC.
This is for our safety. दिल की सुनो.
LIC चलो.
LIC हर पल आपके साथ.
केंट से पानी होता है 100% प्योर.
केंट आरओ प्योरिटी दिखाता भी है.
केंट देता है सबसे शुद्ध पानी.
It's hybrid by nature, a silent predator. The new breed rises above all others. A new breed of SUVs. The advanced Grand Vitara rule every road.
वाह कालरा साहब, बड़ा हेल्दी शेल्दी चल रहा है.
डायबिटिक हूँ ना, सेहत का पूरा ख्याल रखना पड़ता है.
पर ये तो आधा है. डायबिटीज से इम्यूनिटी वीक हो जाती है, यानी बीमारियों का खतरा है. डाबर च्यवनप्राश शुगर फ्री है. ये आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाएगा, तभी तो होगा पूरा ख्याल. डाबर च्यवनप्राश, इम्यूनिटी अब शुगर फ्री.
कर निवेश खुद की हिम्मत में, आसमां को धरती पे लाचे.
जब भरोसे की हो बैकिंग, तो निवेश का हर फैसला बन जाता है बुलंद. इसीलिए हम खड़े हैं हर निवेश के लिए, हर निवेशक के साथ. SBI Securities.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
With 49 studios, Woodfill has revolutionized the Indian modular kitchen industry by bringing the best of Europe for Indian homes. Visit the nearest store for a new design and a quote.
हमारी सोच थोड़ी अलग है. हम बस जिस तरीके से हम अपना क्रिकेट अब तक खेलते आ रहे, हमें वैसे ही कंटिन्यू करना है और फिर देखते कहाँ क्या होता है. Yeah.
What do you think will be the different, and how do you
देखो यार, जिंदगी का कोई भरोसा नहीं. पता नहीं कब फोटो पे हार चढ़ जाए और फैमिली का फ्यूचर, बच्चों की पढ़ाई खतरे में पड़ जाए. तो आज ही पॉलिसी बाजार से 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कराओ, सिर्फ 525 रुपए महीने से शुरू.
उत्तर प्रदेश को दुनिया का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाने के लिए हर संभव कार्य कर रही योगी सरकार की नीतियों से प्रभावित होकर देश तथा विदेश के 66 बड़े निवेशकों ने बीते 4 वर्षों में टेक्सटाइल और गारमेंट के सेक्टर में 8,700 करोड़ रुपए का निवेश करने संबंधी प्रस्ताव राज्य सरकार को सौंपे हैं.
उत्तर प्रदेश की टेक्सटाइल और गारमेंट्स की अपनी जो पॉलिसी है वह आप सबके सामने है. आपने उसको देखा होगा. एक बेहतरीन पॉलिसी के रूप में उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने मानवीय हस्तक्षेप को जीरो करते हुए ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के एक बेहतरीन डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में उत्तर प्रदेश ने अपने आप को स्थापित किया है.
उत्तर प्रदेश को भारत का टेक्सटाइल हब बनाने की दिशा में प्रदेश सरकार ने एक और पहल करते हुए नोएडा में अपैरल एक्सपोर्ट क्लस्टर की स्थापना के लिए 150 एकड़ भूमि आवंटित भी कर दी है.
हर निवेश खुद की हिम्मत में आसमां को धरती पे लाचे ठान।
जब भरोसे की हो बैकिंग तो निवेश का हर फैसला बन जाता है बुलंद। इसीलिए हम खड़े हैं हर निवेश के लिए, हर निवेशक के साथ। SBI Securities.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
In a journey that defines our dynamic future, Bharat embarks on a mission of shaping a new and determined nation. Witness a journey towards development where turning dreams into reality is not just a possibility but a certainty. Join us on Bharat 2050, where unwavering commitment and self-reliance meet economically brilliant tomorrow.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand, brings you the latest breaking news updates from across the country, only on Republic TV.
Women pioneers have defied conventions and achieved remarkable milestones in various domains. Hello and welcome to Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. With us on the show today is Karishma Mehta, the visionary founder of Humans of Bombay. Through heartfelt narratives and a keen passion for storytelling, Karishma Mehta has turned Humans of Bombay into a global phenomenon. Let's take a look at where it began.
Karishma Mehta embarked on her journey by founding the social platform Humans of Bombay. Through this, she shared compelling stories connecting people on a profound level. Her milestones include expanding the platform's reach globally, reaching millions with impactful narratives. Beyond digital storytelling, she initiated impactful community projects, leaving a lasting mark.
Welcome to Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Before we deep dive into this conversation, we'll start with a rapid fire round.
Absolutely, and welcome to Humans of Bombay. It's
Thank you.
Lovely
so
to
much.
have you.
But you know, today I'm sitting on your chair and you're on the other side. How does it feel?
It feels good. I know what it's like to be there. There's pressure, but today it's relaxed. I gravitated towards that chair, and I was told, no, you can't sit there today.
So let's begin. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
If you could time travel, which era would you visit?
It was simpler before smartphones. I'd just go back.
If you could have a dinner conversation with any historical figure, who would that be and why?
Winston Churchill.
Oh,
I've always said that because I'm a student of history and I find him extremely fascinating. So I would love to have a chat.
Which book are you currently reading?
I'm reading Anupam Kher's autobiography.
Your go-to comfort food?
Pasta. And like if I've like had a bad day, I feel I gravitate towards pasta.
Early bird or night owl?
I'm very early bird.
Yeah?
How
early?
I wake up between 5:36.
That is so good. Share a fun fact or hobby that people might not know about you.
I cook a lot. I think people know that though. But I'm also obsessed with cricket. I think people know that also. But yeah, I'm obsessive about cricket.
Work from home or work from office?
Work from office.
Top 3 essentials for a successful storyteller.
Listening. It is so underrated to just listen. Being as raw and authentic as possible. I feel like everything is too scripted. Keeping it the way it is sometimes, uncut, is a good story. It makes for a real story. And I think the third thing of being a good storyteller is obviously asking the right questions.
So Karishma, now that we are talking about storytelling and you have clearly flipped the narrative when it comes to the style of storytelling, we are all hooked to the stories of Humans of Bombay. What inspired you to start Humans of Bombay?
We've been inspired by Humans of New York. I was in college when I stumbled upon the Humans of New York page. It was just on Facebook. That time even Instagram wasn't a thing. And I remember reading for hours. And you know, when you're in college and there's so many distractions, even in terms of, you know, what was available online then. To be able to read something for hours and feel something, I felt like that was very special. I looked it up, and nothing like that was here in Bombay. And Bombay is such a complex society, right? There are people from all walks of life. You have billionaire homes, you have one of the largest slums in Asia. It's a very complex society where a lot of different people operate and seemingly mingle together, and I found that very interesting from the very beginning. So I wanted to tell the story. While we've moved from just Bombay narratives to a pan-India narrative, it's still special. Very quickly, it became popular, right? So for me, I think I really just wanted to tell stories. I didn't foresee it becoming the media house that we're en route to becoming right now. I think that storytelling will always remain the crux of everything that we do, whether it's, for now, me interviewing some of the best minds in the country, even globally. It's still essentially, we want to tell your story. For any successful business or successful company, your values need to be rock solid. And ours rest very firmly on the fact that we tell stories and we tell them well.
What were the challenges back then, and how big or small was your team back in the day when you started? Because now, of course, you have a full-fledged setup.
It was just me. I had a photographer with me to like just come along, a set of photographers to come along with me. But I would write, because I've always written. So I've never done any professional course in writing or journalism, but I've written for as long as I remember. I'm an avid reader, and I've always wanted to be an author. I think J.K. Rowling changed my life. Like when I figured out that, oh my God, the author of Harry Potter is a woman, I was mind blown. I was like, okay, this is a possibility for me. So I could write through Humans of Bombay, and I think that's what kept me so interested, right? Like, how can I tell your story and do justice to it in a world where, you know, people don't read that often. And it was important to me that those narratives compelled people, that this is a story you must read. It was very unstructured. I've worked out of every Starbucks in the city. We didn't have an office for at least 2-3 years. So it was about working out of cafes. It was about working out of anywhere really that I could sit my laptop and have coffee and write. And then of course we were on the streets speaking with people. Challenges were convincing people that you know, that this is a business. Like we're creating something special, you know, we're changing the way stories are perceived, the way a story is told. And there were other challenges. Of course, in the beginning, people also don't necessarily enjoy being stopped on the street and saying, hey, do you want to talk to me? And they're just like, it's Bombay. It's the one of the busiest cities in the world.
Right.
People don't want to be disturbed. But like, we found great people who I've had conversations with complete strangers for up to an hour on the streets of Bombay. It's been a journey. I wouldn't call it challenges necessarily.
What for you have been the most special stories that have touched you as a person?
I think that when you're listening to somebody's story so intimately, you end up learning something from them, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's a normal person. So in terms of which of the stories that have impacted me, I think a little bit of everyone, right? Like, so I remember just when we started, I had interviewed somebody, an older woman, who had lost her husband, who was mute, and he also couldn't hear. And she went on to speak about how for like approximately 20 years before he passed away, she also basically stopped talking. Not because it was a conscious choice, but she was like, I was just so used to communicating in sign language to him that I didn't even feel the need to just communicate. And she's like, I really miss him terribly, and in every lifetime I would just choose him. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, a love like this also exists. We recently interviewed with Anupam Kher sir, and he was talking about how he has slept on the railway station of Bombay, and he only had a 4-hour gap to sleep between the last train and the first train in the morning. And he wrote a letter to his grandfather saying that this city has not treated me well. I want to come back. And he said, his grandfather said, "Bhiga hua insaan barish se nahi darta." So you're already there. And at that point in my life, I felt like it was the weirdest feeling. I felt like the universe has chosen this person to give me a message. And that happens so often where I'm like, I really needed to hear that. You don't feel alone. Like, we've featured people who have had tremendous struggles and still they'll find a few hundred people in the comments who are like, I'm going through the same thing, or I've been through the same thing. And this is my journey, and I hope it helps you.
Yeah. And while I understand that you talk to people from all walks of life, and that is the very idea behind Humans of Bombay, what really is the screening process like of those who are featured on your page?
So we're in a place now where we obviously have a lot of people reaching out with their stories, or stories of their mother, their sister, their neighbor. It depends, right? So it's a bit of both. We have 2 curators in our team who basically all day are just curating stories from either people who've reached out to us or things that they're seeing on the internet. They pick up conversations, they pick up certain hashtags, they pick up certain narratives, and this can be somebody who has maybe 1,000 followers, but we've stumbled upon this particular post and been like, oh, this person has such an interesting journey, we should talk about it.
Karishma, there is so much to talk about, but we have to slip into a very short commercial break right now. So we'll continue with this on the other side. And for all our viewers watching right now, you're watching Techno Phantom VFlip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. We are in conversation with Karishma Mehta. Do stay tuned.
So one of my most special stories, the one I really enjoyed reading, writing, hearing about, was this woman. She's from Delhi, and she was wearing these aviators, and she was in the middle of the street, and we were trying to ask her about her story, about her life, and she said, "Why are you asking all these questions? Come dance with me." And that's her story, and I think that it's amazing. She's amazing.
Welcome back. You're watching Techno Phantom VFlip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. We are in conversation with Karishma Mehta. And you know, Karishma, while we can go on talking about so many stories that touch our lives, for you, Karishma Mehta, who are you first, a storyteller or an entrepreneur?
I think I'm a storyteller. I think because I'm a storyteller, I could be an entrepreneur. So at the root, at the cusp of it, I'm definitely a storyteller first.
But you know, they say that with great power comes great responsibility, obviously, and you have seen that growth trajectory of the likes and the followers increasing. Today, what do you think is the responsibility that rests on your shoulders when you know that you are a part of, or probably in a sense, shaping a certain narrative?
I think the responsibility is multifold. It's not ever unilateral. It's important to tell the story, right? But it's also important to tell different stories that certain people may not agree with. It's also really important to tell the story as real and as authentic as possible, right? Because now this story is no longer just, we're a medium. It's going out to millions of people who are going to perceive it in some way or the other. So to get it as true to core as possible is a large responsibility. I also have a responsibility towards my team, who has been rock solid in building the so many different things that we're building.
But you know, Karishma, it's one thing to chase your passion, and it is another to turn your passion into a profitable venture. How did you structure Humans of Bombay to bring it to the levels of profitability that it is?
You know, having a passion is so important in terms of you find your purpose and this is what I want to do. You enjoy what you do, you found it. How do you sustain that? How do you make sure that everybody who's working on this passion, clearly people are working because they believe in the brand, they believe in the vision, they need to be happy, they need to be fulfilled. I think the business of storytelling, which we have a very popular newspaper, a newsletter, where we share some of our most interesting campaigns that we've run. I still remember we did a campaign with Stay Free, where it was a narrative of a brother and a sister, where the brother's taking care of the sister or being extra mindful during her period. And all of these are real, authentic stories of people. And I remember reading the comments. There were 2,000-3,000 comments. And there were parents who were saying, I'm showing this to my son. I'm showing this to my friend, you know. And I think that the ability to mix really impactful brand campaigns with real, authentic stories that actually shape a certain narrative is important. You have actors on billboards, you have actors or celebrities on magazine covers. But it's an everyday narrative where you know that this is actually a true story is so impactful. And I think we've managed to do that. Outside of that, we're finally getting offline. We're starting events. The show is obviously a large part of it. Turning it into a profitable business wasn't an option. It was a necessity. It was a necessity to keep the storytelling narrative alive, to look after the 40 people and hundreds of freelancers across India who work with us to create content with us.
You know, in life, and such is life, where there are highs, there are lows, where there's success, there is also failure. People put you up the pedestal, they bring you down. How do you deal with the lows?
So I think I've said this before. I'm very spiritual as a person, and in very difficult times I've often understood that it's best to go inwards and reflect. This is my choice. I've made a choice to be in the public domain. I've made a choice to be answerable and to be held accountable for the very many perceptions that people may have on the internet. That's the internet for you. So that responsibility is mine. How I choose to deal when, like you said, there's a pedestal, but then there are days when you're pulled down to rock bottom. I've hit rock bottom, and I knew then that I need to listen, I need to understand, I need to just get the taste of why it is what's going on is happening. And I think when I took the time to go inwards, I realized that even on the worst of days, there is a reason. I may not even understand the reason today, but I know that at some point I will. And outside of that, I just want to really continue doing good work. And I don't think when you're doing something that you love, a particular incident cannot define the journey. Now that can even be with something that's insanely successful, right? Like if you think of some of the interviews that we've done, some of the people that we've gotten to speak with, that's a high. But that also doesn't define me. And the low also does not define me. I think that sense of balance, that it is always going to be up and down, I have to find my equilibrium, is what helps me. So you learn not to take both personally. You learn not to take both too seriously, because it's time. It has to be up and down. That means you're alive. If it's a flat line, you're effectively dead. And I think that's how I deal with the lows, the same way I deal with the highs.
Yeah. You know, what I tell myself on the tough days is that this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And that's the way you deal with it. But, you know, Karishma, you must describe for our viewers and all those watching you today, the stories of Humans of Bombay that have made an impact on the lives of people.
Absolutely. I think that those stories sometimes still give me goosebumps when I think about it. I've spoken a lot about Ali Bhai. It's all over the internet. But there's another one where her name is Anita ji. She was from a little village, a little far away from UP. She basically kept reproducing till she had 5 daughters. And it was because we want the son. Pregnant for the 6th time. And the husband, in the drunken state, slit open her stomach to check the gender of the baby. Turns out it was a boy, but didn't survive. And now she was in the hospital. And this case blew up online, and I was like, we have to reach out to her, because she also has 5 very young girls to look after. And now the husband has been shipped to jail. We reached out, we told her story, and we raised 25 lakhs for her and her daughters. A few days after, when she realized that this is what we've done, her brother called our head of content, Kirti Shri, and said, "Aapke team ka photo chahiye hame." So she said, "Why?" He's like, "Kyunki aap, hamare liye aap hi Bhagwan ho." Because their life changed. The future of these 5 girls, I'm not saying that it would last a lifetime, but at least they would still stay in school. At least their education would be looked after. And in such a distressing environment where you've been through this ordeal, which you and me can't even relate to. You and me, even if you hear the story, can't understand the pain a woman goes through like that. She saw that the world came together to help her. How do you put a price to that? Nothing. No story, no interview, no amount of success will give you that feeling. That I gave hope, we gave hope collectively as a community to someone who was hopeless.
How does technology empower women to challenge and shatter traditional gender norms, according to you, and empower women to take control of their lives?
How does technology empower women? In every possible way. I think that you can express yourself, you can be your true self, the way you want to project it because of technology. I'm able to actually tell stories today from the remotest part of India because there is technology. How else would we connect to somebody like Anita ji?
Yeah.
Would not happen, right?
Yeah.
The impact and the penetration is tremendous. And now that India is at this cusp, right, where almost everybody will be digitally connected over the next decade, I think that we're the country to look out for, and technology plays a huge role in it.
Absolutely. On that note, Karishma, as we come to the end of this show, what's your message to the younger generation today, both as a storyteller, as a thinker, and I'd say the third angle, which is being an entrepreneur?
On all three, I'm going to give a very blanket piece of advice, is that I just try to be as kind as possible. And that is so understated again. And that does not mean that you have to go out of your way and do anything. It's just the little things, which I think the world needs more of. And while I can give you entrepreneurial advice, you'll find 10,000 such videos and subject matter experts to give you that advice. But as somebody who's been on both sides of the spectrum, I think being kind goes a long way. So that would be my advice.
On that note, we must take a selfie.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. It's also really important to tell the story as real and as authentic as possible, right? Because now this story is no longer just, we're a medium. It's going out to millions of people who are going to perceive it in some way or the other. So to get it as true to core as possible is a large responsibility. I also have a responsibility towards my team, who has been rock solid in building the so many different things that we're building.
On that note, we must say that in the realm of words, images and emotions, storytelling has the power to transport us to a distant world and ignite imagination. Karishma's story is one such example. We'll be back next week with yet another incredible story. Until then, stay tuned to Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Thank you so much for watching.
Hello, Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हुए नहीं कि बिल का मीटर चालू, और ये मीटर पहले आपके ऑफिस का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस खत्म करेगा और फिर सारी सेविंग्स। पर घबराओ नहीं, पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू। ले लो।
तेरे ही दम से मेरा जग उजियारा, the taste of India। दिन हो या रात तूने दिल को पिघलाया, the taste of India। तुझसे ही मान हमारा, तुझसे ही शान है, तुझसे है देश हमारा, तुझसे ही स्वाद है, the taste of India।
वाह कालरा साहब, बड़ा हेल्दी शेल्दी चल रहा है।
डायबिटिक हूँ ना, सेहत का पूरा ख्याल रखना पड़ता है।
पर ये तो आधा है। डायबिटीज से इम्यूनिटी वीक हो जाती है, यानी बीमारियों का खतरा है। डाबर च्यवनप्राश शुगर फ्री है, ये आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाएगा, तभी तो होगा पूरा ख्याल। डाबर च्यवनप्राश, इम्यूनिटी अब शुगर फ्री।
It's hybrid by nature, a silent predator. The new breed rises above all others. A new breed of SUVs, the advanced Grand Vitara, rule every road.
कर निवेश खुद की हिम्मत में, आसमां को धरती पे लाचे था।
जब भरोसे की हो बैकिंग तो निवेश का हर फैसला बन जाता है बुलंद। इसीलिए हम खड़े हैं हर निवेश के लिए, हर निवेशक के साथ। SBI Securities.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Hello, Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand, brings you the latest breaking news update from across the country only on Republic TV.
कांग्रेस वो पार्टी है जो निवेशकों को भगाती है।
क्या डर है आपको और किससे डरे हुए हैं जो आप कास्ट सेंसस नहीं करा रहे हैं?
आज 1 करोड़ नौजवान मध्य प्रदेश में बेरोजगार हैं।
किसानों के लिए जो काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया, कांग्रेस ने कभी किया था क्या?
राहुल गांधी को जो है ना पॉलिटिकल एमनीजिया की बीमारी है।
एक कांग्रेस पार्टी ना देश का विकास कर सकती है, ना मध्य प्रदेश का।
पावर्ड बाय बढ़िया है शुद्ध है MDH मिर्ची धनिया हल्दी, असली मसाले सच सच MDH। को पावर्ड बाय मोटोरोला, इंडियाज बेस्ट 5G स्मार्टफोन ब्रांड। अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा।
Confident about the Israeli forces has it, and they are on their way.
रॉकेट जो है वो यहाँ पर दागे जा रहे हैं, और वो देखिए आप हमारे सिर के ऊपर से पास में जो है वो यहाँ पे मिसाइल्स गिरी है।
इजराइल अब ये इंतजार कर रहा है कि जैसे ही सभी लोगों को बाहर लेकर आया जाएगा, आतंकी को खत्म करने को लेकर जो स्ट्रैटेजी इजराइल ने बनाई है उसकी तैयारी भी की जाएगी।
ಇಸ್ರೇಲ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಹಮಾಸ್ ನಡುವಿನ ಸಂಘರ್ಷ 12ನೇ ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಲಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ರಿಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ದಿಟ್ಟ ವರದಿಯನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು,
गोलियों की बौछार हमास के आतंकियों द्वारा कर दी गई।
So there is an alert. There is an alert which has been given.
Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Biggest Story Tonight. I'm Suesha Sound. First up in this edition, we'll take a quick check of the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Prime Minister gives it back to Congress chief for dragging in father in election campaign. All-out war in the India alliance as left warns Congress on TMC by talking about alleged betrayal in 2011. Yogi government deliberates on massive crackdown on halal certification racket in UP. Uttarkashi rescue operations resume after a minor halt over technical snag. PMO officials take stock. Congress MP justifies Hamas, declares that they stand with Hamas terrorists. Saudi Arabia gives a strong message: do not make religious sites ground for political message. And well, with the election campaigning entering into its final leg, Congress is back at it again. When it comes to abuse politics, this time the Congress has targeted Prime Minister Modi's father. And hitting right back, Prime Minister has now said that Congress has stooped to a new low. Listen in to both sides.
भ्रष्टाचारियों को ठीक करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए। जिन्होंने देश को लूटा है, उन्होंने लौटाना पड़े कि नहीं लौटाना पड़े? मैं सही कर रहा हूं। जो चीज आपको पसंद है वो मैं कर रहा हूं। कांग्रेस वाले मेरे पर बौखलाए हुए हैं कि मोदी ये क्यों कर रहा है, और दिन रात वो मोदी को गाली पे गाली दे रहे हैं। कल तो कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष महोदय मेरे पिताजी पर भी टूट पड़े। बताइए, उनका स्वर्गवास हुए 40 साल हो गए, उनको गाली दे रहे हैं। क्या हो गया है कांग्रेस को? उनके राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष मोदी के पिताजी को गाली दे। खरगे जी, आप तो ऐसे नहीं थे। आपका हाल ऐसा कैसा हो गया? लेकिन मेरे भाइयों बहनों, आप आश्वस्त रहिए। मुझे कितनी ही गालियां क्यों न पड़े, मेरे लिए कितना ही बुरा क्यों न सोचा जाए, लेकिन मैंने आपको गारंटी दी है, मैं भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ता रहूंगा।
(2023) के विधानसभा चुनाव के घोषणा पत्र को आप लोगों के साथ और तेलंगाना की जनता के साथ साझा करने के लिए मैं यहां पर उपस्थित हुआ हूं। तेलंगाना का घोषणा पत्र एक प्रकार से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की गारंटी है। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का घोषणा पत्र है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की स्थापना से अब तक का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है, चाहे हमारी राज्य सरकार बनी, चाहे हमारी केंद्र सरकार बनी, हमने हमारे घोषणा पत्र को 5 दशकों तक सातत्यपूर्ण तरीकों से निभाते हुए भी हमारे वादे पूरे किए। चाहे धारा 370 हटाने का वादा हो, चाहे राम मंदिर अयोध्या में बनाने का वादा हो, चाहे ट्रिपल तलाक को समाप्त करने का वादा हो, चाहे गरीब कल्याण की दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी की मूल नीति का सवाल हो, हम सातत्यपूर्ण तरीके से जनसंघ के समय से अब तक हमारे वादों पर खरे भी रहे हैं, और जब हमें पूर्ण बहुमत देश की जनता ने दिया, ये सारे वादों को हमने पूरा भी किया है। देश की जनता इसकी साक्षी है। जहां तक तेलंगाना का सवाल है, मित्रों, अटल जी की सब देश में सरकार थी। अटल जी ने छत्तीसगढ़, झारखंड और उत्तराखंड का गठन किया था। कहीं पर भी कोई लड़ाई झगड़ा न हुआ और नए बने हुए राज्य और मदर स्टेट के बीच में कोई बैर भी नहीं हुआ। परंतु सालों तक तेलंगाना की मांग को कांग्रेस ने ठुकराया और फिर आनन फानन में चुनाव में एक एज लेने के लिए अकुदरती तरीके से जल्दबाजी में तेलंगाना बनाने का काम किया। कांग्रेस ने कभी भी तेलंगाना की मांग का समर्थन नहीं किया था, जबकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने 1997 से काकीनाडा में उस वक्त की आंध्र प्रदेश बीजेपी की इकाई ने एक वोट दो राज्य का नारा दिया था। वो नारे को हम लगातार समर्थन करते रहे। हमने आंदोलन में भी सकारात्मक भूमिका निभाई और जब तेलंगाना बनने का सवाल आया तब हमने तेलंगाना का खुलकर दोनों सदनों में समर्थन किया। तेलंगाना बनने के बाद नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार बनी। नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने तेलंगाना के विकास के लिए ढेर सारे काम करे। कांग्रेस पार्टी ने 2004 से 2014 तक संयुक्त आंध्र प्रदेश को डिवेल्यूशन और ग्रांटिंग एड का 2 लाख करोड़ रुपया दिया था, सिर्फ 2 लाख करोड़ रुपया। इसके सामने भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने, नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने अकेले तेलंगाना को 2,50,000 करोड़ रुपया ये 9 साल में दिया है। इसका मतलब हमने 160% ज्यादा दिया है। 2 गुना से ज्यादा पैसा देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया। इसके अलावे अभी 900 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से समक्का सरक्का सेंट्रल ट्राइबल यूनिवर्सिटी, हल्दी के किसानों के लिए वैल्यू चेन और एक्सपोर्ट को बढ़ावा देने के लिए नेशनल टर्मरिक बोर्ड और कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 2 की टर्म्स ऑफ रेफरेंस को भी अभी मोदी जी ने अप्रूव किया है। राष्ट्रीय राजमार्गों में लगभग 56,000 करोड़ के नए रोड तेलंगाना को जोड़ने वाले बनाए। 13,000 करोड़ का 325 किलोमीटर लंबा हैदराबाद रायपुर एक्सप्रेसवे भी अलग से बनाया और लगभग 4600 करोड़ की लागत से 160 किलोमीटर लंबी नेशनल हाईवे ग्रीनफील्ड हाईवे की योजना भी तेलंगाना को दी। वंदे भारत ट्रेन सिकंदराबाद विशाखापट्टनम और 3 नई वंदे भारत ट्रेन तेलंगाना से अभी पाइपलाइन में है। 1200 करोड़ से अधिक हैदराबाद मेट्रो के लिए दिया और एयरपोर्ट में 6288 करोड़ रुपए का व्यय हैदराबाद अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एयरपोर्ट के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सरकार ने किया। 19 में बीबी नगर में एम्स की स्थापना की। हैदराबाद नागपुर और हैदराबाद वारंगल इंडस्ट्रियल कॉरिडोर बनाया और इसके साथ साथ गरीबी रेखा के नीचे जीने वाले लाखों करोड़ों लाभार्थियों को अनेक योजनाओं का लाभ नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने दिया। इसमें से मैं कुछ जरूर तेलंगाना की जनता को बताना चाहूंगा। किसान सम्मान निधि 40 लाख लाभार्थियों को हर साल 6,000 रुपया देने का काम किया। 54 लाख गरीबों के घर में नल से जल पहुंचाए और एक भी घपला घोटाला नहीं हुआ है। शौचालय 33 लाख गरीबों के घर में शौचालय पहुंचाने का काम किया। 1,90,00,000 लाभार्थियों को कोरोना से अब तक फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट राशन मिलना चालू है। मुफ्त में 5 किलो राशन प्रति व्यक्ति प्रति माह मिल रहा है और मोदी जी ने घोषणा की है कि अगले 5 साल तक ये चालू रहेगा। लगभग जन धन अकाउंट 1,10,00,000 खुले और प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना 12,000 किलोमीटर लंबी करी। इसके सामने जो तेलंगाना के खैरख्वां बनकर केसीआर की पार्टी टीआरएस सत्ता में आई, इन्होंने क्या किया? हैदराबाद मुक्ति संग्राम लगभग 400 दिनों के बाद तेलंगाना को आजादी मिली। वो क्रूर शासन से देश के लौह पुरुष सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने मुक्ति दिलाई और केसीआर ने ओवैसी के डर से हैदराबाद विमोचन दिन मनाने का हमेशा कन्नी काटा। हैदराबाद की स्पिरिट को, तेलंगाना की स्पिरिट को वहीं से तुष्टीकरण की भेंट देने का काम केसीआर ने किया। केसीआर के नेतृत्व में आज तेलंगाना लोकतंत्र की जगह लूट तंत्र बन गया है और प्रजातंत्र परिवार तंत्र बन गया है। उनका एकमात्र लक्ष्य, किसी भी राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री का लक्ष्य होता है अपनी जनता की भलाई करना। उनका एकमात्र लक्ष्य अपने बेटे को मुख्यमंत्री बनाना है और कोई लक्ष्य नहीं है। नीलू, निधुलू और नियामकालू, ये 3 सूत्रों के साथ वो सत्ता पर आए थे। वादा किया था, हम लोग भी दूर से देखते थे, बड़ी आशा के साथ देखते थे कि नए राज्य की शुरुआत हुई है, अब कुछ अच्छा होगा। मगर हुआ क्या? पहले नीलू की बात करते हैं। कालेश्वरम घोटाला हुआ, 42,000 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट 1,35,000 करोड़ का हो गया, अभी भी समाप्त नहीं हुआ है। पलामूरू रंगारेड्डी लिफ्ट सिंचाई योजना लगभग 2015 में इसकी आधारशिला रखी, 32,250 करोड़ खर्च हो गया, मगर अब तक उसको पूरा नहीं किया गया है। इसी तरह निधुलू की बात करें तो इनके परिवार का गबन का ये तेलंगाना सरकार जरिया बन गई। 2014 में जब तेलंगाना का गठन हुआ, 370 करोड़ रेवेन्यू सरप्लस स्टेट था और आज ये लगभग 7 लाख करोड़ के ऋण में डूबा हुआ राज्य है। 370 करोड़ के सरप्लस से 7 लाख करोड़ के ऋण में जाना ये बहुत बड़ी बात है और वो इनके परिवार के भ्रष्टाचार के कारण ही हुआ है। तेलंगाना सरकार पर अभी 3,66,000 करोड़ का ऋण है और निगमों पर अलग से 3,80,000 करोड़ का ऋण है। तो तेलंगाना को 7.5 लाख करोड़ के ऋण में डुबाने का काम इन्होंने किया है। और मेगा प्रोजेक्ट्स की घोषणा कोई भी मुख्यमंत्री करता है तो मन में आकांक्षा होती है कि इस मेगा प्रोजेक्ट से मेरे राज्य को क्या फायदा होगा, मेरे राज्य की जनता को क्या फायदा होगा। यहां उल्टा है। केसीआर मेगा प्रोजेक्ट की साइज इसलिए बड़ी तय करते हैं कि इसमें कमीशन ज्यादा मिल पाए। उनका एकमात्र लक्ष्य मेगा प्रोजेक्ट्स में से कमीशन लेना है। जहां तक नियामकालू का सवाल है, रोजगारी का सवाल है, 17 टाइम परीक्षाओं के पेपर लीक हुए, लाखों युवाओं का भविष्य बर्बाद हो गया, ट्यूशन के पैसे युवाओं के खत्म हो गए और कई लोगों ने आत्महत्या की। 2 लाख से अधिक पद भरना बाकी है। कर्मचारियों को समय पर वेतन नहीं मिलता है। यूनिवर्सिटी में कोई भर्ती नहीं की गई। विश्वविद्यालय में 3,000 से ज्यादा पद रिक्त है। जूनियर और डिग्री कॉलेज में 8,000 से ज्यादा पद रिक्त है और शिक्षा के लिए आवंटन जो 10.89% था वो घटकर 6.24% हो गया। यही बताता है कि उन्होंने क्या किया है। ढेर सारे वादे जो उन्होंने किए हैं, वादा खिलाफी करने का काम किया। 1 लाख नौकरी देने का वादा किया था जो पूरा नहीं हुआ। 3,000 रुपया बेकारी भत्ता देने का वादा किया था, पूरा नहीं हुआ। 12 तेलंगाना यूनिवर्सिटी को सभी पद भरने का वादा किया था, वो पूरा नहीं हुआ। केजी से पीजी की मुफ्त शिक्षा का वादा पूरा नहीं हुआ। 7 लाख गरीबों को घर देने का वादा पूरा नहीं हुआ। गरीबों का 1 लाख का लोन माफ करने का वादा पूरा नहीं हुआ। हर जिले में एक सुपर स्पेशलिटी अस्पताल बनाना था, नहीं बना पाए। मैं यही कहना चाहता हूं कि केसीआर कोई भी वादा करते हैं, उनके नजर के सामने केटीआर और कविता ही होते हैं, तेलंगाना की जनता नहीं होती है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो बोलती है वो करती है। ये केसीआर की पार्टी पिछड़ा विरोधी पार्टी, उन्होंने 2014 के चुनाव में वादा किया था कि अगर वो जीतते हैं तो दलित मुख्यमंत्री बनाएंगे। 2 बार वो स्वयं बन गए और तीसरी बार अब केटीआर को बनाने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। हालांकि इस बार होने वाला नहीं है, मगर वो तैयारी कर रहे हैं। और पिछड़ा वर्ग का भी भरपूर शोषण करने का काम केसीआर की पार्टी ने किया है, बीआरएस ने किया है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने तीनों पार्टियों में सबसे ज्यादा 39 बैकवर्ड क्लास को टिकट देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया है। और मोदी जी ने वादा किया है कि आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी को बहुमत दीजिए, तेलंगाना का अगला मुख्यमंत्री बैकवर्ड क्लास से होगा। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सार्वजनिक वादा है। भ्रष्टाचार की कोई सीमा नहीं है। कालेश्वर परियोजना हो, शराब घोटाला हो, पोल्ट्री चारा घोटाला हो, ग्रेनाइट घोटाला हो, बाईपास घोटाला हो, और लगभग कार्तिकीय मिशन में 22,000 करोड़ का बजट के सामने पूरा खर्च होने के बाद 65% भी काम पूरा नहीं हुआ है। घोटालों की एक बड़ी लंबी सूची केसीआर ने 10 साल के अंदर तैयार की है। और उनको अब डर भी नहीं रहा है, क्योंकि हर आदमी पहली बार कुछ गलत करता है तो डरता है, दूसरी बार करता है तो थोड़ा कम डरता है। करते करते इन्होंने इतने घोटाले कर दिए कि अब डर भी नहीं बचा है। निर्लज्जता के साथ वो घोटाले कर रहे हैं। और अल्पसंख्यक तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति, केसीआर साहब का चुनाव चिन्ह कार है, मगर कार का स्टीयरिंग उनके हाथ में नहीं है, मजलिस के हाथ में है। कोई भी फैसला करना हो, मजलिस क्या कहेगी वो सोचकर फैसला कहते हैं। पूरे देश भर में एकमात्र राज्य तेलंगाना ऐसा है जहां मुस्लिमों को रिलीजियस रिजर्वेशन देने का काम हुआ है। एक गैर संवैधानिक है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने तय किया है कि गैर संवैधानिक रिजर्वेशन को समाप्त कर ओबीसी को रिजर्वेशन हम बढ़ाएंगे, एससी एसटी का भी न्यायिक रिजर्वेशन बढ़ाएंगे। उन्होंने ढेर सारे ऐसी घोषणाएं की हैं, मैं इसको रिपीट करना नहीं चाहता। मैं तेलंगाना की जनता को यही कहना चाहता हूं, तेलंगाना जिस आशा, उमंग और उल्लास के साथ राज्य की रचना हुई, 10 साल में बीआरएस पार्टी पूर्णतया विफल गई। सिर्फ तांत्रिकों की एडवाइस पर चलते हैं और तांत्रिकों की एडवाइस पर पार्टी का नाम भी बदल देते हैं। मैं तेलंगाना के युवाओं को पूछना चाहता हूं कि जो तांत्रिकों के सलाह के आधार पर चलते हो, ऐसा मुख्यमंत्री तेलंगाना का भला कर सकता है क्या? आपका भविष्य संवार सकता है क्या? मैं तेलंगाना की जनता को भरोसा देने आया हूं, साथ में हमारा संकल्प पत्र लेकर आया हूं। ये मोदी गारंटी हमारा संकल्प पत्र आने वाले दिनों में तेलंगाना को उस ऊंचाई पर पहुंचाएगा जिस ऊंचाई के लिए सैकड़ों तेलंगाना के युवाओं ने अपना सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया था और तेलंगाना की कल्पना की थी। मित्रों, अब मैं हमारी घोषणा पत्र की 25 मुख्य बातों पर आता हूं। पहली घोषणा है कि हर साल 17 सितंबर को हैदराबाद लिबरेशन डे मनाया जाएगा, जिसके माध्यम से हम निजाम के क्रूर पंजों से तेलंगाना की मुक्ति को फिर से एक बार नई पीढ़ी को याद कराएंगे। हम बेरनपल्ली परकल के शहीदों को श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए 27 अगस्त को रजाकार विभीषिका स्मृति दिन भी मनाएंगे, जो रजाकारों के सामने तेलंगाना की जनता ने जो लड़ाई लड़ी है इसको चिर स्मृति तक ले जाएंगे। और ये दोनों दिन ऑफिशियल तेलंगाना गवर्नमेंट मनाएगी, कोई डर के बगैर। हम मजलिस से नहीं डरते हैं, इनके सपोर्ट की ना जरूरत है ना चाहिए। इसके अलावा रजाकारों और निजाम के खिलाफ तेलंगाना के लोगों के संघर्ष का डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कर कर एक म्यूजियम और मेमोरियल हम स्थापना करेंगे। नंबर 2, भ्रष्टाचार के प्रति जीरो टॉलरेंस हमारी सरकार का होगा। भ्रष्टाचार के सभी आरोपों की जांच एक रिटायर्ड सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज से कराएंगे और उचित पिनल कोड में कार्यवाही कर कर भ्रष्टाचार करने वाले सभी लोगों को जेल की सलाखों के पीछे ले जाएंगे। मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शन की आकांक्षाओं को, पिछड़ा वर्ग की आकांक्षा को पूरा करने के लिए, बैकवर्ड्स की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने के लिए, उनको सामाजिक न्याय प्रदान करने के लिए हमारा अगला मुख्यमंत्री बीसी बैकवर्ड क्लास का होगा। इसका तेलंगाना को भारतीय जनता पार्टी वादा देती है। असंवैधानिक धर्म आधारित आरक्षण जो 4% है उसको हम समाप्त करेंगे, ओबीसी का बढ़ाएंगे और एससी और एसटी का भी जनसंख्या के अनुपात में आरक्षण बढ़ाया जाएगा। महंगाई कम करने के लिए मोदी जी ने कई बार वहां पर ड्यूटी कम करी है, परंतु केसीआर ने नीचे वेट घटाकर इसको कोऑपरेट नहीं किया। शायद तेलंगाना सबसे ज्यादा महंगे पेट्रोल डीजल वाला राज्य आज देश भर में है। महंगाई कम करने के लिए भाजपा सरकार बनने के बाद 7 ही दिन में पेट्रोल और डीजल पर वैट की कटौती कर कर पेट्रोल और डीजल को हम सस्ता करने का काम करेंगे। मोदी सरकार प्रति एकड़ अभी एक हिसाब करे तो फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी दे ही रही है, परंतु छोटे और सीमांत किसानों को बीज, उर्वरक और पेस्टिसाइड की इनपुट सहायता में प्रति एकड़ 2500 रुपया देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार करेगी। मोदी सरकार हल्दी बोर्ड की स्थापना की जो घोषणा करी है, इसको हम हल्दी प्रोसेसिंग केंद्र स्थापित कर कर इसके सपोर्ट में रहेंगे और मूल्य संवर्धन और निर्यात को बढ़ावा देंगे। धान पर, चावल पर 3100 रुपया एमएसपी और हल्दी के लिए आवश्यक मार्केट इंटरवेंशन फंड हम प्रदान करेंगे, तो पूरा चावल एक दाना भी नहीं छूटेगा। पूरा धान 3100 रुपया प्रति क्विंटल हम परचेज करेंगे। इसके साथ साथ जाड़ा चावल जो होता है उसको केसीआर नहीं खरीदते हैं, भारत सरकार पर दबाव बना रहे हैं। हम वादा करते हैं कि बॉइल्ड राइस को भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार एमएसपी पर खरीदकर किसानों की मदद करेगी। प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना किसानों को मुफ्त, फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मुफ्त फसल बीमा का लाभ भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार देगी। उज्ज्वला लाभार्थियों को साल में 4 गैस सिलेंडर फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार देगी। जो बेटी जन्म लेगी उसको इस वक्त एक फिक्स डिपॉजिट देंगे, जो 21 साल की आयु की जब बेटी होगी तब 2 लाख रुपए की होगी फिक्स डिपॉजिट। इस प्रकार का हम जन्म के साथ ही तोहफा हमारी सरकार की ओर से देंगे। स्नातक डिग्री या प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज में छात्रों को मुफ्त में लैपटॉप दिया जाएगा। महिला सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप को सिर्फ 1% ब्याज पे ऋण प्रदान किया जाएगा और यूपीएससी की परीक्षाओं की तर्ज पर 6 महीने की पारदर्शी और समयबद्ध तरीके से ग्रुप ए और बी की परीक्षाओं टीएसपीएससी के माध्यम से तेलंगाना स्टेट पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन के माध्यम से देंगे। हम वादा करते हैं ये पूरी तरह से ट्रांसपेरेंट होगा, एक भी पेपर लीक नहीं होगा। और
Hello, Motorola, India.